Hi there guys, welcome to this tutorial. It's a focus today on English Language Paper 2, Question 2. And this is definitely a question that many of my students find a bit tricky. I think sometimes the wording of the question might send you down a bit of an avenue that's not always right. And so what I wanted to do is look at the June 2017 exam paper for AQA. Obviously this is the first live exam paper, we've had sample ones beforehand. And just wanted to kind of clear up what it is exactly that you need to do with this. Now, I started making some of my own notes here, and they're possibly a bit rambling and a bit unhelpful. So just to be clear with what you need to do on this, your key skills that we're looking for are your ability to make inferences, so your ability to read between the lines and to summarise information from the text, and you'll get that specific focus. So in the case of this paper, it was the different activities the boy in Source A enjoyed and the Source B when he was young. So it's inference and summarising. In actual fact, the looking at the different activities which might suggest comparison is less of a sort of an assessed skill in this. You do need to make sort of highlight some differences, but don't get bogged down with this becoming a comparison question. Inference and summary, and my suggested approach is that you summarise and make your inferences about Source A, and you possibly want to make 2-3 different points about Source A, and then move on to Source B, and then you can bring in your differences. But the key here is that you're making inferences rather than looking at a writer's methods. So one of the key things here, and I have to reinforce this a lot with my students, is that this is not a language question, because lots and lots of my students end up saying the writer uses the word, the writer uses this adjective. You're not zooming in on quotes and analysing the meaning of words in the same way that you would for question 3. So I just want to model, excuse me, I just want to model how I would approach this question and how I would approach a response. Now, I always sort of said to my students on paper 2 to kind of do a bit of a different order, to do kind of question 5, 1, 3, 2, then 4. So I'm assuming at this point that you would have read quite thoroughly through your 2 non-fiction texts, one of which we know will always be 19th century. And I would advise that in terms of preparing for this question, you just go through and highlight the inferences that you're going to make. So you're going to highlight the information about the activities that both boys used. So we'll make that assumption that you've done the planning and the preparation for this, and that you're now coming to the point where you need to write up your ideas and your answers. So I would just start straight away with Source A and sum up and make inferences about the activities that boy enjoyed when he was young. So I'm going to go straight in with the child in Source A. So I said just go straight in, you don't need a sort of rambling introduction, it's only an 8-mark question, so you need to get in, get out. So the child in Source A seems to thrive, so that's a little bit of an inference already, from, and I'm going to just use an embedded quote here, from running up to people and getting them, I'm going to say getting them to, what does he say? He mentions about twang his lips like a ruler on a table. So I'm just getting plenty of bits of evidence, bits of textual evidence in there. Let's have a look. I'm going to get another quote in there. And barking, gibberish in the middle of the room. So I'm using lots of evidence and quotes there, but you'll notice that what I'm not doing is zooming in on what, the word running shows us. I'm not doing that, which would be much more a language question. I'm just using some evidence here to say, what does this boy enjoy doing? But obviously what I do need to do is have an inference about the evidence that I've got here. So my inference here is going to be to say that the child what do these things tell me? He runs up to people, he gets people to twang his lips, and he goes into the middle of the room and barks gibberish. So all of these things together tell me really that he enjoys playing with other people. He likes attention, and he thrives on kind of that sort of showing off. So that is my inference, and that's what I need to go to next. So I'm going to say the child appears to really enjoy playing with people and loves the attention he gets. He excels with that. He kind of thrives on it. So I'm going to use that word, even though I have used it once there. I'm going to go back to that idea of he thrives on this, and likes to be, and his dad calls him a show-off, doesn't he? He thrives on this and likes to be a show-off. So I'm using quite a few embedded quotes, which is really good practice anyway. So I've got some evidence, I've got some inferences. You'll note that I'm not zooming in on language. So I do want to bring in a difference at this point. So I'm going to sort of just link this to source B. So I'm going to say, however, in source B, so the child, one of the things you'll notice when you go through this source, and I'm sure you will, once you've read it yourself carefully, you'll see that this child is far less, he doesn't like playing with people as much. He's much more, he likes objects and toys. So I'm going to make as a difference here, however, in source B, the child appears to prefer playing with objects rather than people, which perhaps suggests, so suggests is a good word to signpost an inference. So it perhaps suggests to me that he's more, I guess the word would be introverted. He is happier playing with himself rather than other people. So child appears to prefer playing with the objects rather than people, which perhaps suggests he is a more introverted and less, maybe less confident as well, and less confident child than the boy in source A. I'm going to go back to him, who seems really to crave and need almost constant attention from others. So that would be kind of, I've got clear differences in there, I've got clear evidence from both. I would be trying to encourage any of my students to do 2, or if they could, 3 points like this. So that would give you a really wide range of differences. So just to recap the skills that I've got here, I've got a summary from source A. I'm summing up here. I've got a range of relevant evidence to support. The bit that's really going to get you the marks is your inference. So when I say this section here, he loves to enjoy playing with people and loves the attention he gets. He thrives on this. This is the bit that really gets you the marks, because that's your inference skill. It's your ability to read between the lines. So I can see that he likes to run up to people. What does that tell me about him? It tells me that he loves attention. So however, in source B, the child appears to prefer playing with objects than people. So that's my clear and quite perceptive, which is the bit that will get you into the top band. It means that you maybe see stuff that you can make a connection other people maybe can't do as well. So I've got a perceptive difference here, and and then I've got another perceptive kind of inference here. That section where I was saying this suggests he's a more introverted and less confident child. So it's an inference and a difference really, and that's quite perceptive, and it would be top level stuff, and I've got another difference here. So that's a clear sense of differences. I've summarised, I've got evidence. What I haven't done is end up talking about the writer's use of language, and that's key. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.